Richardson rolling through the SWAT. Repping for the city, hear him in the parking lot. Houston written across the jersey, ain't gon' never stop. Just fans got me tuning in, waiting for the drop. Astros, Texas, Rockets, Dynamo, they coming with it. When they pull up, got the city sitting on a fitted. Straight up A-Leaf, hold it down, ain't gon' never quit it. Just fans got me tuning in, let my dogs get it. Southwest A-Leaf, Texas, throw down here and it's so infectious. We ride for the Houston Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, and them Texans.
And what is going on, guys? Another episode of the Just Fans podcast.
1 week closer to Thanksgiving.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Boy, I can't wait.
It's the season. It's the season for real. But with Thanksgiving, dude, with the fall and everything, football. It's what it's all about. Forget baseball. We don't talk about that no more. Not this year.
The sport doesn't exist anymore.
But football, brother. So, again, after week 11, Just Fan Podcast, Papi here with my co-host Rios, right here. And our good friend of the show, Dallas Clark.
How's it going?
Not the real one. Not the real one.
Just one of them.
The only one we recognize.
Yeah, just one of them. Not the one, but one of them.
One of them for sure. How's it going, Dallas?
Oh, it's going fantastic, man. Especially Colts came through at the end. Everything looked great at the end of last week.
Oh man,
so,
it was a tight one for y'all.
Yeah, man. I mean, so I feel a lot better than I could have this week for sure. But yeah, like you said, I'm just waiting for this Thanksgiving food, man. I can't wait. I'm spatch cooking my turkey this year.
Hell yeah. My job gives us a free turkey, so I need to get that ASAP. So
yeah, we should get ham or something like that. I'm waiting on that too.
Dude, I'm looking forward to there's a honey glazed ham. Shit. Get me fucked up, bro. Get me fucked up, bro.
Myself, I don't share shit. It's all for me.
With a peach cobbler at the end. Oh,
all
right. So this last week in football, Colts Jets.
Yeah.
28-27. Talk us through it, bro.
Man, so it started out fairly good. It was a definite roller coaster of a game. It started out fairly good. First couple of drives, especially on the defensive side of the ball. The defense was absolutely dominant on Sunday. And then we kind of let them steal a little bit of that momentum back right before halftime. And they just kept rolling with it throughout the game. And then we ended up with a situation at the end of the game. I looked at my fiance and I was like, yo, honestly, this couldn't have worked out any better. You know, Anthony Richardson got benched. This is his first game back. And, it's like his fourth road game, I think I heard, in his career. So, we had 2.5 minutes, 3 timeouts down, 6 points. It was a perfect situation for him to come in, build some confidence, and it's exactly what happened. I heard he was almost in tears at the end of the game with how excited he was that it worked out that way. And honestly, Colts fans, I feel like we couldn't have got a better reintroduction to Anthony Richardson. Got some hope to build on. So things definitely came out. It was a great feeling on Sunday. Like I said, it started out great, and it felt like it was going to be a normal Colts with Anthony Richardson that we've been expected this year. A little disappointing, but he was wheeling and dealing, and it was the best game that he's definitely had this year so far. So it was great.
Yeah, I saw some of the highlights. He looked pretty good. He looked like he's moving a little bit better in the pocket, made some better decisions. They got him to use his legs a little bit in the right situations.
Yeah, no, that's definitely his biggest thing, right? If he can get the decision making down, the sky's the limit for a guy with his talents and with his athleticism. He went 20 for 30, 272 yards. We know he can throw the ball. It's just the accuracy it's what gets him most of the time. But we know he has a cannon behind him. Yeah. And he threw for 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and he ran for 32 yards.
Yeah.
So not a bad outing. And going against Aaron Rodgers, right, who didn't have the best game, but he still threw for 2 touchdowns. It's a good, like you say, it's a good reintroduction for Anthony Richardson, and hopefully it's a stepping stone for him to build in the next few games. Who do you guys play this week?
Man, we got the Detroit Lions at home this week.
Okay, so that's over. You got
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not terribly excited. The only thing I'm really excited about is we're wearing the Indiana Knights uniforms this week, as that's what they were saying in the preseason. So hopefully we get to see a little different uniform this week. But other than that, I'm just hoping we play competitive football and don't get blown out.
We wore the battle reds and we still lost. So
Yeah.
We didn't get blown out at least, like Jacksonville and Tennessee, because man, they took belt to ass of those two teams.
Yeah.
So let's think about this. Like, do you think going against the Lions? Well, based on his performance against the Jets, do you think Anthony Richardson has? You guys are probably not going to win. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But do you think he has a bad game? Or do you think it's going to be like the Jets? I mean, the Lions offense is just going to be too much for the Colts defense to handle.
So I think the Colts defense will keep the Colts in the game a little bit. It's really going to be dependent on how that offense goes. Detroit's defense is really good, but their best part is their rushing defense. So that's really going to kind of handicap the Colts this week for sure, because without being able to get Jonathan Taylor going as much as we would like to, without being able to get Anthony Richardson as much on those quarterback design runs, I think Anthony Richardson actually has a better game this week. I feel like he's going to be forced to throw a lot more in this game. We're going to be down a lot. We're going to need to throw a lot. So he's going to be kind of forced to open it up more. And this last week, we had a very simple, almost high school playoff offense. It was a very simple, bare bones offense, and Anthony Richardson flourished in it. But it was either a screen pass or a little dink and dunk 2-yard pass or a 20-yard pass. We need to have that mid-range, that 5 to 12-yard gap. And I think that's where the Detroit Lions are most susceptible, right across the middle. So, like you said, the decision-making is going to have to really be there for Anthony Richardson this week. And building the confidence from last week, I feel like Anthony Richardson is going to come out feeling himself at home in Indy. I definitely think that he has a better game statistic-wise. And I'm not saying that, like you said, that we win the game or anything, but I think his statistics get a lot better, and hopefully we have a lot more like this week where we're having more of a 20 for 30 than a 14 for 32. I prefer it to be over 50% on the completion rate, and the Colts should have a good game.
What do you
Not
think,
a great
Rios?
game, but
What do you think, Rios?
Man, I think the defense is they're going to try to force Anthony Richardson to be Peyton Manning, and that's just not his game. I think them simplifying the playbook really helped him out because he's very young. Not just that, he's only played 20 total games in his entire life from high school to the pros. So he's still very raw. So decision making is not all the way there yet. Not where it should be, considering his age. It's the same thing with the accuracy. They're going to throw a lot of confusing looks. They're going to do some disguised looks that they throw at Houston that kind of caught them off guard. And I think they're going to do the same with Richardson. But Richardson's decision making versus Stroud's decision making, it's worlds apart. So I think they're probably going to force him into a couple bad throws.
Yeah, but their O-line is way better than ours, so he'll have a better time in the pocket.
It depends on what week we're talking about. Like last week, our O-line played well, but the couple of weeks before that, when Anthony Richardson got benched, it was not looking really good on our offensive line.
I think their best to be to kind of keep the playbook simple and get the ball out of his hands quickly, and just let your playmakers make some plays. Because if he stands too long in the pocket, he's going to go back into old habits trying to run, and I wouldn't recommend it against that Lions defense.
Do you think there's a world where you guys get the upset?
I mean, there's a world, and the world is kind of like the same world that we could have got the Texans. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to take the Lions making mistakes and shooting themselves in the foot and leaving a wide open window for the Colts to be able to at least push it to a close game in the end. It's a world, but it's what was that shit in the Avengers when he said, when I watched 1.5 million opportunities and 14 million win in one. Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing, because the Texans were close, and the reason why they did is because they forced their quarterback to throw for 5 picks, right?
Yeah.
And we still couldn't make them pay at the end of the day. However, you guys don't have to do all that much. I feel like you guys' defense should hold them off just enough. If you guys can get points on the board, make them to have them turn the ball over to you guys, I feel like there's a world where maybe next week you're gonna be way too hungover to do the show with us.
No, man, definitely not too hungover on a win like that. I can tell you that. But like I said, when you look at the Colts, we get a lot of really crazy shit in Indy. The punt blocks and like you said, we force a lot of turnovers. Kenny Moore will go 2 pick sixes in Indianapolis. So we do tend to get that home field advantage, especially on the defensive side. Like I said, that's the world that we win. The same way that we had a window open against the Texans. It wasn't that we played a good game and fought the Texans tooth and nail. It's that the Texans just did not play like everybody was expecting to. So our hope is that the Lions are going in this week giggling at practice like, oh, we playing the Colts, going to Indy, and we get to come in and kind of wake them up a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a hard Sunday. I don't have many expectations. Most of the focus is on my playoff push in fantasy football this week.
There you go. There you go.
We'll find the little wins in life.
Well, the Lions just came off of a great weekend, trashing Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Like, what is it, 52 to 6 or something crazy like that? The Lions will definitely take no prisoners. If they can put 40 on you, they're going to put 50 on you. They are going to step on your throat and not let you get a breather for anything. So if you guys don't want to get blown out, you guys got to fight to the nail just to make it a close game.
The two losses the Lions had, Jared Goff got kind of exposed a little bit. If you force him to actually drop back and pass, he struggles. Those interceptions. Like his biggest success comes on the play action pass, and that's set up by the running game. You shut down the run, force him to drop back. You can kind of force him into some errors.
Yeah,
not easy, but it can be done.
Yeah, but with that said, though, Jacksonville just continues to completely just stank.
Well, I called it at the beginning of the year. I said it's going to be Jacksonville and the Titans fighting for last place.
Yeah, which team is worse? The Titans just came off of a loss against the Vikings, which we could have expected. The Titans haven't been great. They had some like highlights here and there, but Will Levis had a really bad game. He went 17 for 31. I'm sure if Sam was here, he'll give us like the silver lining and all this other shit. But there's really no positives that I can pull from either Jacksonville or Tennessee this year.
Yeah, because with Jacksonville, they didn't really make a ton of upgrades. They just assumed that paying Trevor Lawrence is going to magically make him a better quarterback. It doesn't.
If it worked that way, shit.
In Tennessee, this is the year to rebuild, and instead they add some better pieces, but they basically put band-aids on a gunshot wound. Like it just didn't fix the problem, and you see it every Sunday. Yeah. That's why they have 2 wins.
Tennessee just basically took that whole thing and slapped a big old strip of Flex Seal on it.
Yeah, they're like, we got it. It's like when your car engine starts to make a weird noise, so you just turn the music louder.
Just talk louder.
I can't hear you. But yeah, so pretty much every team in the Jacksonville and Tennessee both lost. They continue to plummet the understandings. I don't think there's any turnaround for them.
I wouldn't be surprised if neither one won a game the rest of the year.
I wouldn't be surprised either. The Colts, what's you guys' record right now?
Oh man, I think we're 2 games behind you guys. Give me 1 second. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
I just pulled it out. It's 5 and 6.
Yeah, I think you guys are what? Aren't we 2 games or 3 games behind you guys now?
We are 7 and 4.
Yeah.
So we got the 2 games plus the tiebreaker. So
yeah, technically 3 games. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your predictions for the rest of the year so far, Dallas?
Man, honestly, this section of our schedule is definitely the hardest portion of our schedule. We had Buffalo, we got we had the Jets last week. This week we have another tough matchup. I said that basically this portion of our season. Then we got Denver coming up in a couple of weeks. This portion of our season is really going to determine really if we're a good team or a team that should be trying to fight for a top 10 playoff pick. Because like I said, we got Lions this week. Then we play the Patriots and Broncos, which are winnable games.
I don't know, man. The Broncos are looking pretty nice.
That's when the Broncos are looking pretty nice. I'm nervous about that. I'm going into Denver. You know what I'm saying? I'll be there for sure for that game. But like I said, I'm not feeling great about the Lions game. We should hopefully be able to have a really good game against this Patriots team. Like both the Patriots and the Broncos are winnable games, but they're both offenses that have just been getting better and better throughout the year. So it's going to depend on really what this Colts offense is looking like. Are we getting the Colts offense that we got flashes of last season that we got last week? Or are we getting the Colts offense that we had with Joe Flacco or Anthony Richardson for the whole entire month of October, it felt like, which was one of the worst teams to watch in the NFL. So, but after the Patriots, Broncos, we got Titans, Giants, Jaguars. So if we can get through this next 3 games, 2 and 3, we have a good chance at finishing out the season 5-3 and ending with a 9-7 record isn't terrible. It's enough to maybe squeeze into the playoffs,
maybe.
But like I think that's the best case scenario for the Colts is 9-7. Hopefully we get over 500, because if not, what was all of this stress all season for? We're gonna have a mid-range draft pick like we always do at pick 13 or some shit. But yeah, man, so hopefully we can at least make I don't think we're a deep playoff team. At most, we make wild card, and I can say we're a playoff team this year. But I don't really have much hopes deep in the playoffs. Like I said, our best chance is 9-7 this year.
See, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think the Texans are a deep playoff team either, the way they're constructed right now. But saying that, we just came off, the big game for Monday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys, who suck way more than I could have predicted at the beginning of the year.
Let's just get this out of the way. Even with Dak Prescott, that they still lose.
Yeah. Even if they would have had Dak, I do believe the Texans were just a better team going into it. 34-10. So Rios, walk me through exactly how either did the Texans win this game or did the Cowboys lose this game?
This is honestly one of those wins that's 34-10, but it should have been more. It's like I would call it an ugly 34-10 win.
Ugly, because for the first, like going into the half, you were like, this game could go either way, to be honest.
Yeah, like it was not like the first half. It was a tale of two halves, basically. The first half, they were just from the first play of the game when the touchdown got called back because of Larry Tunsil. I'm like, the funny thing was Andre Guerrero. He's one of the he does the radio play-by-play for the Texans. He's done with Larry Tunsil. He just talking shit about him.
Dude, it's like as soon as it happened, I was like, I almost didn't want to watch the rest of the game. I was like, fucking Tunsil, bro.
I was like, man, it's gonna be a long day, and that's the thing. Like that, they've run that play all week in practice. Like they knew that was gonna be the first play, and you still were not in the right spot. I'm like, yeah. And then just there's a lot of miscues on offense. Like CJ made a couple bad throws, especially on an interception. He had a couple guys open.
He made a more than a couple bad throws. I saw. It was a he went 23 for 34, not excellent, but not terrible. 257 yards, no touchdowns. Right, the player of the game, and we can all agree on this. It was Joe Mixon. He has been carrying this offense way more than we thought he was gonna be. Even though we got Nico Collins back, they're still trying to ease him into the game.
Yeah, he was on a touchdown. He only played about 47% of the snaps, which I kind of expected.
We figured it was going to be like that. You don't want to re-aggravate any injuries. He ended up with like 57 yards or something like that. Yeah. So nothing crazy. Tank Dell had a few good catches. Scholes had a few good catches. Mechie, a couple of first downs. But I feel like nobody really stood out besides Joe Mixon. Like nobody else really caught my eye. Well, the defense was pretty solid, but offensively, nobody else really caught my eye.
Yeah, the first half, the defense had a lot of miscues that it kept it closer than it should have been, honestly. Perfect example was on that touchdown pass to Turpin. Jeff Okudah, he got sent to the shadow room. I'm like, bro, he was facing the opposite direction. And he didn't play. He didn't play again until garbage time.
Yeah,
and toe, he got benched because he gave up a lot of passes up the middle, and gave up, just being lazy out there. And they made some adjustments in the second half, and you could tell like they look like a different team in the second half, especially on the defense side of the ball.
Which is the first time we can say that all year, to be honest. Honestly, I feel like the reason we won this game is because Dallas basically has no running game, and that really crippled them to count on Cooper Rush, who threw for 354 yards. He went 32 for 55, but he only threw one touchdown, one interception.
Yeah, Cooper Rush is throwing 55 times. You're not winning that game.
You're not winning that game. You're not winning it. 354 yards seemed like a waste, to be honest. Their biggest rushing yards was Rico Dowdle for 28 yards. So it was just a bad game.
Yeah, they went one dimensional second half. That's when it was over at that point.
Yeah, it seemed like
they made some adjustments. The offensive line actually did a fairly decent job.
It was okay. We'll take that. Like if we can get this offensive line, if we would have gone this offensive line in the games we lost
Against Green Bay, that's a win.
against Green Bay or against the Jets, we would have won those games. If we would have gone this offensive line, this much effort. There still seems to be some tension in with the offensive line and CJ Stroud. I don't know if the media's trying to spin in some direction, but
No,
we see it on the field. Like every time he gets hit a lot. You don't see all the guys going to him and picking him up and stuff.
or even trying to protect him. Like the Packers game, when he was on the sideline, trying to getting into it with a couple of the Packers players, none of them were anywhere to be found. And you look at other teams, anyone gets near the quarterback, like the whole O-line swarms on them.
Yeah, no, it's just not great. The way this team is constructed right now, I feel like kind of like what Dallas said. Like, yes, we're gonna make the playoffs, but if we play, Kansas City or Baltimore, one of those big teams, I think we're getting bounced immediately.
See, it's kind of funny because I feel like you guys should feel. So first off, with this game on Sunday, I feel like the Texans were so much more powerful than the Cowboys were that it was. I mean, from the very beginning of the game, wasn't there that Nico Collins 75-yard touchdown that got called back at the beginning of the game? You know what I'm saying? Like if the game starts that way, Nico Collins, CJ Stroud's, their numbers are much better than they ended up. And then Joe Mixon, when you get 3 touchdowns out of your running back and the other offense is barely able to get 1 touchdown, you don't really need to do much. And even if the Cowboys had a running game, the Texans are a top 5 rushing defense right now. The Cowboys wouldn't have been able to do much. The Texans would have. I mean, it's the fact that Cooper Rush was out there. The Cowboys really stood no chance from the beginning. If Dak was out there and their offense looked somewhat normal, maybe the Cowboys would have put up more of a fight in prime time. But Cooper Rush, like you said, 55 passes from Cooper Rush. That ain't never going to work out for nobody. But then when it comes to like the Texans' playoff chances, I feel like the Texans, when you look at, I mean, outside of the Bengals, who started out kind of slow and have just been getting, seems like, hotter and hotter, and then the Ravens as well, like the Chiefs, they're beatable right now. A lot of those kind of top teams, the Buffalo Bills, they've got their holes as well. I feel like the Texans, if they can get their shit right over the next 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and really get that momentum going into the playoffs, they've held with a ton of adversity. I think Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins played 1 game together this season. Because you had Nico out at the beginning of the year, then Stephon missed. He's been out for what is he out for the year now?
He's out for the year.
That's what I'm saying. So like the Texans have gone through a ton of adversity. I feel like, the Tank Dell has been getting going these last couple of weeks. The way Joe Mixon is running going into December football. CJ Stroud, he's been going through a sophomore slump, but just like Patrick Mahomes, you don't have to necessarily be the best team in the regular season to turn off that playoff Patrick. And CJ Stroud going into his second playoffs, I feel like I've got a lot of excitement as a non-Texans fan to see what the Texans can do, because they seem like that team that can beat, and like nobody wants to play in the playoffs. Like the Texans can beat any of those top teams if like you said, if that offensive line was playing better against Green Bay, you beat that Green Bay Packers team, you beat that Jets team, and you guys are now 1 game behind the number 1 Kansas City Chiefs. So I feel like the Texans especially in the secondary, that's really where they got to get that defense is going to be a problem. So they either got to figure out the defense and stopping them from stop allowing so many points, or CJ's really got to turn it around and start dishing multiple touchdowns a game to really keep them in there when you got Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar on the other side of the ball that is going to just tear that defense apart.
Another one of my biggest fears with this Texans team, the way the offense operates right now, is that we are just using we're just squeezing every ounce of football that Joe Mixon has right now.
Oh yeah.
To the point that, when we make it to the playoffs, my guy might be like running on fumes at that point.
Yeah.
Because we know how running backs can be, right?
But see, at the same time, though, Joe Mixon has been that Bengals running back, and he's been this exact kind of thing for the Bengals. He's kind of been one of the only bright spots for the Bengals over these past few years, and the Bengals have been a playoff team every year, and so if anybody's prepared for it on the Texans roster, it's Joe Mixon. If anybody is ready for that deep playoff run, I'm not really nervous about Joe Mixon per se, like you said. But CJ Stroud could definitely take some of that pressure off of him by throwing 1 or 2 touchdowns a game.
Yeah, no, he definitely needs to step it up. Definitely needs to step it up. Like the city's behind him 100%. D'Amico's behind him 100%, and he has the confidence. And it's not like he's playing horrible, right? But it's just we expect a little bit more of a jump.
Yeah.
Well, I
Right,
think a
not-
lot of it has to do one, like Dallas had mentioned, some of the adversity of losing your top two receivers for extended periods of time. Joe Mixon was out for like 4 games.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Remember that running game? They couldn't get anything going with Cam Akers and Dar Abumawale.
Dude, I forgot Cam Akers was in this team. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Pierce has been out for a long time, so they really didn't have much of a run game for a big stretch of the season, and they still won games. It didn't really, didn't really hurt them missing Mixon too much, but it did kind of affect.
Well, because Nico was kind of carrying the offense at that point, and
Yeah.
then once he went
he
out,
went-
then Joe Mixon started to pick it up. But it feels like kind of like Dallas says, like it's not CJ,
Yeah.
dishing it out and dealing like he was last year with like a lesser team.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do one with the play calling and with the offensive line. Last year they were a less talented group, but I guess they schemed it better with your quarterback and more time in the pocket. I think this year they've been getting a lot of flack, not just from the national media, but I'm sure in the locker room as well. And they probably don't like being held accountable. Like, come on, Larry.
I mean, to be fair, to be fair,
Tunsil to practice. That's just, bro. Like, what kind of diva are you, man? Like,
are we talking about practice?
You to practice? Like,
We're talking about practice.
But see, at the same time, though, it's what I was talking about when the season first started. And I said, I feel like the Texans have a chance to be disappointing in the fact that there was so much hype on the Texans.
Yeah.
A 7-3 Texans in 2023, y'all would have been jumping all around on every,
Over
on
the
the
moon.
podcast.
Over the
Y'all would have been crazy. But going into this year, you guys like 7-3. This is some bullshit. The way this team is constructed is absolute. You guys would not believe that the Texans have been who the Texans have been over the last 20 years with the way y'all are talking right now.
Honestly, to be fair, you're making some good points. We love to have the outside perspective for sure.
Yeah.
But we said we're going to keep it short, so let's just go into predictions. Jacksonville doesn't play this weekend, but if they did, I'm sure they will lose.
They will lose anyway.
The Texans play the Titans. Is it at home? I believe it's at home, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, Tennessee at Houston. Yeah,
I will be in the building.
You will be.
Nice.
Okay, bet. What are your predictions, Rios?
It's going to be another belt-to-ass beating.
Yeah, I think we killed them. I think Tennessee is going to leave looking like roadkill by the end of it.
Because Tennessee, they're just not playing well on either side of the ball, offense or defense. And I think for Houston, the game against the Cowboys, this upcoming game against the Titans, and then the next one against the Jaguars, those are games to really get this offense tuned up, go into the bye, get a little bit of a break, and then go into that murderer's row of a schedule going against the Dolphins
that's not what I'm looking forward to.
and Ravens in 10 days.
Yeah.
3 games in 10 days.
That's ridiculous. Give me a prediction though. Give me score prediction.
I'm gonna go 38-9.
Okay, see, that was close. I'm gonna say 31-9.
I'm going 31-13.
Okay.
And we get one meme-worthy moment from Will Levis.
Oh, we better.
Pair.
We better. And the Colts, like we said, play the Lions at Indiana.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
Yeah.
We know what's gonna happen, but anything could
do.
happen. So give me a score prediction, Dallas.
Score prediction: Anthony Richardson, I think, scores 2 touchdowns. Other than that,
Okay, so at least 14 points.
yeah, I was gonna say at least 14. Other than that, I think we're lucky to get 21 on this defense, honestly. And I mean, I'd be thankful to stop them to 34 or less. So let's go 34-17.
Okay. It's close to my prediction. What do you got, Rios?
I think they put up a couple points early, but I think the Lions are just gonna,
just run away with it at the
all
end.
season, man.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be we'll go 49. 23.
The crazy thing is that 49 is not a bad guess the way this Lions offense has been playing.
I was trying to keep it a little bit conservative on that one.
So I'm going to keep it a little bit more optimistic from the Colts side. I'm going to say because I'm a fan of you guys' defense. I really am. So, and the Texans show that solid defense can hinder the Lions offense a little bit. If you make Jared Goff step back a little bit and try to make those difficult throws, I'm gonna say You guys are still gonna lose.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say 28-10.
Yeah. See, the difference between the Colts and the Texans, though, like I said, you guys got that top 5 rushing defense. The biggest problem for the Colts is going to be that 1-2 punch of Montgomery and Gibbs. If we let them do whatever the hell they want to, and the Colts have been letting running backs do whatever the hell they want to all season, it's going to be a long day for Colts fans, man.
And it's a Sunday. It's a
Sunday
noon
morning.
game. Yeah, Sunday morning. It's a noon game. All right. Well, those are our predictions. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for showing support. Thank you, Dallas, for coming out.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. Sam, fuck you. Carlos, fuck you more.
Yeah, that's definitely shit.
But we will be back next week for another episode of Just Fans. This one will be back on regular schedule. And then we'll do our other show, The Blitz. Please follow us on there. And then we're probably going to do another little AFC South thing next Wednesday as well, hopefully.
Awesome.
That one we'll try to do live.
That one we'll try to do live. This one we
Okay.
were recording because it was like I just got home and I was just trying to figure this out. But thank you guys. Any final remarks before we head out?
Yes. For now, in all eternity, fuck the Dallas Cowboys.
Fuck the Cowboys and the Saints. Fucking Browns. Browns, I know you suck. I know you guys suck. And thank you for the draft picks. I appreciate it. But you had one fucking job this weekend, which was beat the Saints. And you couldn't even fucking do that, bro. God damn it. Anyway, sorry, I just got to get that on my chest. When I saw the score line, I was because they got manhandled too. It was like 30-something to 14. Fucking Browns.
Yeah, they made Jameis Winston look like Joe Montana out there.
400 yards. Damn.
But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Dallas, again. Thank you, Rios. And we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace out.
Southwest A-League, Texas, throw down here and it's so infectious. We ride for the Houston Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, and them Texans. If you ain't never been down here, well, rule number 1, you gon' respect us. Just fans in my speakers, new one drop, they bout to bless us. I might right through the SWAT, playing just fans right through your spot. Look, and I don't know what you thought, but right here, dog, we gon' rep the squad. Got HU, I might fit it, then on my jersey, you gon' know